What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Sactown Sports Kings recap. Coming to you after the Kings take down the Oklahoma City Thunder for the second time this season in Golden One Center. Tonight's final score 126, 128, 123. And it was an interesting night. Definitely, I asked a couple people while I was sitting around, and I'd love to come to these games, but tonight was a little bit of a boring game for about two and a half, three quarters there, it kind of became clear by the end of that third that what we were watching was just an absolute shootout between two of the best young guards in the NBA. Two Kentucky products, De'Aaron Fox and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, were absolutely terrific tonight, and Shai really put his team on his back. He was great. He got to the foul line 18 times tonight, finished with 40 points, and really just did a lot for his team. 9 assists as well. Shai was incredible tonight, and OKC needed it. They really didn't have much contribution from really anybody else. Chet Holmgren is really struggling with his matchup with Domantas Sabonis. He struggled with him in the first matchup with these two guys. Clearly, that physicality is a bit much for Chet, and with his slight frame, you got to kind of figure that Sabonis has to take advantage of that, and he definitely did tonight. And it was an incredible performance. He had Sabonis was 18 points, 16 boards, 7 assists, a little bit of everything tonight. But definitely the story coming out of tonight's game is the matchup of the two Kentucky guards. And we got a show. De'Aaron is been on a mission all year long, as we've talked about before on these post game shows. His 3-point shot has been developed throughout the course of his career, and this season is really the best we've seen him shoot. He's shooting on high volume, 8 attempts per game, and he's been shooting at about 36, as high as 38%. And tonight, 5 of 11 from 3. He's really, really confident in that shot, and that's really the next evolution of his game. It's the reason why he's been on a different MVP level this season. It's because that 3-point shot is going down, and just in general, the 3-point shot when it goes down for this Kings team, they're a lot better. And tonight definitely was aided by that 3-point stroke. They shot 40% from the field. That's excellent. If you can shoot 50-40 splits from the field, you're going to win on a lot of nights. That's really what the Kings did a lot of last year. And I think we see that this is the Kings offense kind of starting to round into shape a little bit. It was a slow start to start off this season. They've been a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes on a night-to-night basis, you don't know how the shooting's going to go, but it feels like this Kings offense is really starting to have the shots fall. And funny enough, Mike Brown talked about that today in the pregame press conference. He was asked about why it seems like every time when his team loses, they tend to lose big. And he said that sometimes they don't hit shots, and some say that you need to attack the rim more when you're not hitting shots. I've been saying that for a while, but Mike Brown really believes in the shooting on this team, and he believes that no matter what, if they're shooting bad, they have the shooters to kind of turn it around at any moment. We just haven't seen it so far this season, but again, it just really feels like the offense is starting to click, and you get big contributions tonight, and we're going to talk about it with the stars of tonight, but get big bench contributions tonight. Malik and Keon Ellis single-handedly outscored OKC's bench. They were terrific tonight. Just amazing. I mean, career high for Keon Ellis. You see it in the crawl below. He had 17 points. He hit 5 triples tonight, and what a coming out party. I was kind of wondering going into tonight if we had seen the end of Keon Ellis, because we did see a good amount of Davion Mitchell in the Kings last game, but that was not the case. Keon clearly is kept his spot in the rotation, and I think after tonight's performance, he's really solidified it. I mean, it would be really, really hard to take Keon out of the rotation at this point after a night like he had tonight, and he continues to do it on the defensive end, which is the main reason he's on the floor in the first place. He's so active with his hands and getting deflections and just causing chaos. I mean, in the fourth quarter down the stretch there, Mike Brown put Keon Ellis on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That tells you the faith that they have in Keon. And frankly, that's also the reason why they go to Keon instead of Davion, is because Keon's able to provide that length. He's a lot bigger frame than Davion. He's got a lot longer wingspan. He's able to guard guys who are like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's 6'6" with a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. Davion just can't guard guys like that. And Keon's at least got the length and the wingspan to be able to deal with a guy like Shai. And you're never going to be able to stop him, but just making it difficult for him is all you can ask for, because Shai put the team on his back tonight. He took 27 field goal attempts and 18 free throw attempts. That just tells you how many times he was just putting it up in general. That's way more than anybody else on his team pretty much combined. That's absolutely ridiculous. And shout out him, because it was almost good enough for them to win it tonight. But our Kentucky guard gets the better side of this battle. And, that's also big on De'Aaron, because he had to step up. He really had if Shai was going to go crazy like he did tonight, De'Aaron was going to have to neutralize it. And he definitely did, because I would say, with De'Aaron's 40 and 41, I'm sorry, and Shai's 43, they pretty much canceled each other out. And then if you're taking the Kings 2 through 8 guys against the Thunder 2 through 8 guys, I'll take the Kings guys more times than not. And I think that's the bet that Mike Brown and his staff were willing to take tonight. I mean, you saw on a lot of shooters tonight, they were not closing out. They were more than happy to let Jalen Williams shoot threes, and he was terrible tonight. He really was the biggest reason why the Kings won tonight. If Jalen Williams hits his open looks, OKC wins this game easy. J-Dub was 2 of 14 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. All of those threes were wide open. And, Mike Brown's talked about before how the Kings have a defensive philosophy of, essentially you really only close out hard on, they call them hot guys, who are high percentage 3-point shooters, that they just feel like, hey, you can't give that guy an open look. And, clearly they did not have Jalen Williams on that list of hot guys. They were more than okay with him being the reason why they lose tonight. And Jalen Williams proved why Mike Brown and his staff were correct to make that assessment and take that risk. Josh Giddey had a really interesting night. Curious if anyone was at home watching tonight, how much of the boos from tonight got through to the broadcast, because it was loud in here every time Josh Giddey touched the ball. I thought that was interesting. I really didn't expect that. I definitely didn't expect a standing ovation from him or for him, but didn't really expect that level of animosity towards Josh Giddey, which is, I'm not throwing in any of my opinions or takes on the matter, but just thought it was interesting that the crowd decided to boo him in that fashion. Just, it was relentless. It was like Marvin Bagley almost when he came to Golden One Center last year. It was intense. It definitely had some anger behind it for sure, but definitely had an interesting night, or just was a weird night for Giddey. He had a really quiet first quarter. Maybe the boos got to him. Maybe it kind of threw him off his rhythm. Really had a rough first half, and then turned it on in that third quarter, and really had a decent game. Ended up having a pretty well-rounded game. I think he finished with 18. Finished with 18 points, 8 boards, which is always what he's going to give you. I thought, it was a weird start for him. I can't imagine what it's like to play in an arena where everyone's just booing down on you, and it feels like, 16,000 people, or how many did they say were in attendance today? Attendance still not counted, which is interesting, because it was a little bit of probably the emptiest night I've seen in Golden One Center this season. But man, that was really interesting. Just a really interesting night. What is everybody's takeaways from tonight's game? Are we feeling good about Keon and his spot in the rotation? I've talked to a couple people who are a little bit, I wouldn't say cold on Keon, but just curious what made Keon so good that he was good enough to kind of take Davion's minutes and not look back. And I think I've been pretty public about my defense of Keon Ellis, and I think he's a high level defender, and the thing that's going to keep him on the floor is hitting open threes, because he's probably not going to be in a lot of teams' game plans for the time being. And if he can be left open and kind of play that Jalen Williams role like today, where teams are going to live with Keon Ellis hitting this shot. And if he can be a 38% three-point shooter, that's the thing that we were asking from Davion Mitchell. Really, is hey, the defense is awesome. We're not saying we don't appreciate the defense, but we need a little bit of offense to also justify having you on the floor. And Keon Ellis showed tonight exactly what or why that was so important to add to anyone, not just Davion, but whoever is going to play that backup. I guess not even backup playmaker, because I would say that Malik Monk is only doing as much playmaking because he has to. I almost feel like, the Kings don't have to bring in a guy that can shoot as long as he can orchestrate the offense, which frankly Keon Ellis can't really do either. That's definitely still a part of his development as well, is being a true point guard. But it's just a really interesting thing, because Davion's obviously eighth pick or ninth pick in the draft. I always want to say he's the eighth. Ninth pick in the draft, and Keon Ellis is an undrafted two-way player on a two-way contract. So definitely, if the Kings feel like they can get more out of Keon Ellis than just from a value proposition, makes a lot of sense to keep Keon around and look to move on from Davion. Excuse me. Whew. Excuse me. My goodness. A big weird stat I saw from tonight. Excuse me as I'm dying. Second chance points. The Oklahoma City Thunder absolutely murdered the Kings on the offensive rebounding front. OKC grabbed 16 offensive rebounds, which is absolutely insane. That's so many offensive rebounds, but they just could not capitalize. They only had 12 points off second chance rebounds. The Kings actually are off second chance points. Kings actually beat OKC in second chance points. Kings scored 22 on 9 of 13. OKC, again, 12 points, 4 of 17. 4 of 17 on their second chance opportunities. Again, I guarantee Mark Dagnall is going to mention that in his post-game press conference. He's going to say, we put ourselves in an opportunity to win this game. You get 16 offensive rebounds. You just don't convert on any of those opportunities. If you just convert on a couple of those, even half of those opportunities, which isn't crazy to ask. Again, the Kings finished 9 of 13 on their second chance opportunities. OKC was 4 of 17. That's terrible on second chance opportunities. They had the opportunity to win this game, and they just kind of smoked it. And I see a lot of people. Yeah, I see this. I saw this a lot on social media. Refs almost gave OKC the game. At the end of that game, that was definitely not great. I didn't think the officiating was bad. I do think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets a very, very, very soft whistle. My co-host Alan Stiles definitely pointed out to me that he's one of those whip your head back and forth merchants. He's gonna always drive and whip his head back and try and get the refs to make that call. But the Kings also were really handsy tonight. I don't know if you could see it from the TV, but the Kings really, really came out and played physical tonight. They picked up a ton of fouls just in general. Like Keon had 5 fouls. Keegan Murray. I'm sorry, I can't say Keon and then Keegan. Keon had 5 fouls. Keegan also had 5 fouls, if I'm not mistaken, 4 fouls as well. They were just really, really handsy. And so I think, sometimes it works to your advantage. You're kind of setting the tone, but other times it's too much. And I think the Kings have been trying to skate that line all season long. And it to me, from my vantage point, it just looked like they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar a couple different times. So I don't know. I could be wrong. Sometimes I don't have the best view on that, but from my vantage point, I actually didn't think the refs sold it that much towards the end of the game. Wasn't great though. Yes. Let's do our 3 stars for tonight. I feel like this first star is, you know what? No, actually, I'm going to give my first star to Domantas Sabonis. He had a really great game. Again, 18 points, 16 boards, 7 assists. Nothing really spectacular tonight from Domas. I thought the biggest thing he did was really just his physical presence. did a good job of setting people up, and it was really just a light Domas game. And again, when he can kind of mess around and get a triple double, if you will, and just kind of have a whatever night and finish with 18 and 16, that's pretty decent. So nothing special from Domas. So I'm gonna give him 1 star tonight. 2 stars has got to go when you have a career high in multiple fields. It's got to go to you. Shout out Keon Ellis, again, a guy who I feel like I've been very vocal about my support of Keon and him getting a lot of playing time. Good to see him take advantage of this opportunity. I've kind of been waiting for this moment where he starts to kind of click offensively. That was the last part of his game that was kind of holding him back from getting minutes. Mike Brown clearly has a lot of trust in him because he's playing him a lot and keeping him in that rotational spot, and really just giving him tons of opportunities to fail as well. Like, it's not always going to look every night great from a guy like Keon, who's still early in his development as well. He's been really patient with Keon, and I think a night like tonight, it's got to feel good to feel like your bets on him have kind of paid off. And I think that this is I think that this is a legitimate thing. I think Keon does have a chance to I don't think secure backup point guard minutes, but I think he definitely could carve out like a Terrence Davis type of role, or a Kessler Edwards kind of role like it was last year, more towards the end of the season. I think right now the Kings are just kind of working with the roster they have. It feels like they got to make some sort of move later in the season, and maybe in the postseason as well, is more what I'm talking about with Keon's future role. But really good to see him making the most out of tonight. Again, a career high 17 points, career high 5 3-point makes for Keon. Just awesome to see. And this is also a testament to the G League and the G League system, and how the Kings have really done a great job with their developmental system. It's kind of weird to say, and a weird flex, but the Kings really care about their G League program and their G League system, and they really care specifically about that G League system being a winning program. And it's a weird thing to care about because a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's just G League. Why does it matter? Like, you're just there to develop the guys. Why does it matter if you end up winning the games as long as, you're getting individual talents out of the system?" Which makes sense. I think it just kind of depends on what you're hoping the G League is used for you. But the Kings, by caring about success in the G League, you're really able to kind of, instead of develop individual skills and players, you really start to develop more so, okay, Keon, you're actually playing in a team role. This is what your role would be with a specific team. And especially if you're with a winning team, then you're learning things that are conducive to winning. Like, you're always making winning plays and in winning situations and in clutch situations where the tiniest little details are truly what make the result, and that's really how you get better. And so I think Keon Ellis is a testament to it. I think that we're going to see some things out of Colby Jones after he kind of is done going back and forth in Stockton, and he's able to kind of get some NBA minutes later in this year or in the middle of this season. I feel like he's going to show a lot of things. And really, I was watching Jalen Slauson in the pregame warmups, and I see some things out of him that I didn't see during the summer league, and I think even he's developing into something that I think could be really interesting. He's a 6'8", 6'9" guy that I think, maybe could bring a little bit of a point forward, and he's definitely got a little aggression and an edge to him. I think that what the Kings are doing with their G League program is just awesome. And if you haven't had time to go watch a G League game, I went for the first time about 2 weeks ago. It's a really, really good time. I would definitely look into if you're it's wet weather these days. If you just kind of want to do something on a Friday, but you don't really want to go out, you just want to have a chill time. I was really pleasantly surprised in all aspects by the Stockton game experience. I was really surprised at how nice of an arena it was. Frankly, when you think of what a minor league basketball team could be playing in, the gyms that could look like, you kind of expect like some raggedy high school gym, honestly. But that Stockton arena is really, really nice. the amenities that they have for the fans, and just the watching experience is really, really cool. And you get to see some guys that you're kind of familiar with Colby Jones, Slauson. You see Scal Labissiere out there, Jeremy Lamb's out there. The Kings just traded for Stanley Johnson. I heard he played really well the other day. So really love love what the Kings are doing with their G League program. And definitely, if you have some time and you love basketball, I would say it's worth the hour trek. It's a cool thing to do on a night if you really don't have anything else going for you. You know, there's definitely a good time to be had at those Stockton Kings games. Would highly recommend. And again, you get to see Scala Bissier, an old King. So, and Lindsey Harding as well. Lindsey's down there, and you never know who you'll see from the Kings brass. You'll probably see Alvin Gentry. He's always lurking around. You might see, who knows? Monty McNair might be there. You might catch Mike Brown or some of the coaching staff there. You just never know who you're going to see out there. G League's a really, really cool experience. And finally, I mean, who are we going to give this third star of the game to? I don't know. How about De'Aaron Fox, who 40 points again? My guy Frankie Cardicelli told me he is now tied with DeMarcus Cousins for the most 40-point games in the Sacramento Kings era. He will not break the Kings franchise record because, as he informed me, I believe De'Aaron's at 7 or 9 of these 40-point games as a King. Oscar Robertson's at 77. So safe to say Big O's got that one locked down, but De'Aaron can at least lock down the Sacramento record. He was incredible tonight. Really was just easy for him. Getting to the rim, terrific. Again, I talked about his three-point shooting after the Clipper game for a really long time. I think his shot is just, it's real. It's legitimate. I didn't think that it was legitimate. I didn't think that it was possible for him to make this big of a leap over one stretch of season or of an off season. And De'Aaron's, I'm a believer. I think that thing is going to go in at least 37% plus this season. I feel really confident about that, just the way it looks right now. We did see him at the end of the game hold on to his shoulder. It's a little bit concerning. Definitely as I'm talking about his three looking better than it ever did. That's the kind of thing that could really throw him off. You see Kevin Huerter right now is just in the slump of slumps. 4 points tonight from Kevin Huerter, 20 minutes, 2 of 8. Ever since his finger injury, he just hasn't been the same, averaging under 10 points, under 40% from the field. It's been rough to see Kevin really struggle from the perimeter, and it makes me nervous for De'Aaron moving forward. If that shoulder, I don't know how legitimate or how I'm not how legitimate. I'm sorry, how serious that shoulder injury is, but he was definitely holding on to it for a long time, and I don't know. For a second, he was holding it like it was dislocated. I definitely don't think it was. He definitely would have came out of the game, but he just kind of had that look to him, like he was in some pretty serious pain. Maybe it was just a stinger. I don't know, but that's the kind of thing that could really throw him off for the rest of the year, even if it's just a little twinge or something doesn't feel right when his shot is falling down. So hopefully we get more of an update on that. And the Kings kind of don't play until Saturday, so they have the tonight and tomorrow to kind of take some time off. I'd imagine the Kings will practice tomorrow as well, and then be back out here on Saturday against the Utah Jazz, which should be, frankly, that should be an easier game for the Kings. They should take care of business on Saturday. Really shouldn't be an easy one. They beat them pretty handily in the first game of the season. Kings are at a different level than Utah, and after playing so many tough teams, don't make it harder on yourself. Okay, just again handle business, take care of it, and there should be no reason why against a Utah team that's injured as well. I've been keeping track on them. Did they play tonight? They did play tonight, and they just have a boatload of injuries. Lauri Markkanen's not playing for them. Jordan Clarkson's not playing for them. I saw John Collins is somebody who's now on the trade block. Keontae George was out today, who's been a really good rookie for them. So it's been really, really bad for the Utah Jazz. Definitely not having a fun season like they were last year. So again, really need to see the Kings take advantage and just not play with their food on Saturday. Just come in, destroy them. And I believe you have, I think the Kings have a back-to-back coming up after that. Let me double check here, and then I will get out of here. No, they don't. So it's actually a nice little easy pocket of games. You have Saturday against the Jazz, and then Monday against the Wizards. I will not be doing a live stream after Saturday's show. I actually, my one of my best friends got tickets to the game, so I'm gonna go with him to the game. Haven't been to a game as a fan in years. I can't even remember the last time. So gonna enjoy myself on Saturday. We will be back on Monday after the Washington Wizards game. You can check me out Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Styles and Watkins. You can also check me out right here on Sactown Sports 1140 YouTube channel at the end of every single Sacramento Kings game, except for this coming Saturday, right here on Sactown Sports. Yeah, what a night. What a weird night, from the giddy booze to the boring 2.5 quarters to the showdown that was between the Kentucky guards. What a night. Kings, light the beam. Everybody have a fantastic night.